material success pani paउने मान्छेहरु they don't drive like the fanciest cars. Like that's not where like status comes from. Okay, status चाहिँ त्यो कुराबाट आउँदैन. What I noticed was like status is about what problems are you solving, how ambitious are you, and so like you're jealous of people's ambition, which I think is good. Like हामी भन्छौं नि jealousy राम्रो हैन, envy राम्रो हैन, but there's like maybe some certain forms of it that are actually kind of good. And being jealous and envious of somebody who is more ambitious than you, like it creates a level of drive. You haven't really escaped this sort of like ladder that's been set up for you. If you're willing to challenge yourself, right? Alikati चाहिने त्यो ideas हरु challenge गर्ने हो भने, how can you just completely like blow up, okay? Completely destroy त्यो ceiling. And so मलाई चाहिने $100 billion company बनाउँछ, मलाई $1 trillion company पनि बनाउँछ, and I hope we get there. हाम्रो सुरुवात मात्र भएको छ SecurityPal मा. There's things about my life that are so unique to me. It would be like if I was trying to like accomplish what like Zuckerberg is doing and like being upset at myself if I couldn't do that, right? Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates happened to be like in the same school that had like one of a handful of IBM's like computers, and his like family is like super well to do in Seattle or something like that. And ekdam ramro cities haru chhan yaha चाहिँ जसले राम्रै गरेका छन्, like Bangalore, right? Singapore, Bangkok. How do we put Kathmandu into the mix as well? We had a business need. We were looking for talented people. It happened to be the case that there are very talented people in Kathmandu. That in itself should be a very powerful story. Okay?
100%.
So त्यो चाहिँ capitalism, problem solving, illy driven भएको कुरा हो. अनि now there's 125 people and hopefully 100.
More.
Hopefully we continue to hire more. And यहाँ create भएको jobsहरुले अमेरिकामा jobs create गरिरहेछ. I'm really passionate about that. The fact that we're creating jobs in both places.
Hi Pukar.
Hello.
स्वागत छ हाम्रो पडकास्टमा द डुवर्स. अनि आई थिङ्क आज तिमीलाई चाहिँ एउटा के च्यालेन्जिङ हुनेवाला छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ म तिमीलाई प्रश्नहरू चाहिँ नेपालीमा सोध्नेवाला छु. सो आई होप विल बी एबल टु डु जस्टिस टु दिस पडकास्ट. मलाई चाहिँ केबाट सुरु गर्न मन लाग्यो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ हुन त म पुकारको पुरानो पडकास्टहरू तल डिस्क्रिप्सनमा लिङ्क गरिदिन्छु. सो इफ पिपल रियली वान्ट टु गो ब्याक एन्ड डिग इन मोर इन्टु योर पास्ट एन्ड a lot of things you have done, maybe त्यो इन्साइटफुल भइदिन्छ. आज चाहिँ मलाई केबाट सुरु गर्न मन लाग्यो भन्दाखेरि लास्ट टाइमको कन्भर्सेसनमा चाहिँ त्यहाँ कपाल अफ टेक अवेज आई केम ब्याक टु द अफिस के हाम्रो कुरा भइसकेपछि. हुन त त्यो हाम्रो थर्ड मिटिङ हो होइन. सेकेन्ड मिटिङमा चाहिँ तिमीले चाहिँ मलाई एउटा के भन्थ्यौ भन्दाखेरि अनुप आई वान्ट टु बिल्ड $100 billion कम्पनी होइन. तर ब्याक इन द भ्याली, ब्याक इन युएस, वेन आई मिट पिपल हु बी लाइक पुकार आई वान्ट टु बिल्ड $1 trillion कम्पनी, एन्ड यु गेट जेलस अफ द एस्पिरेसन, द ड्रिम्स दे हेभ होइन. अनि इनफ्याक्ट अब आई एम फर्चुनेट इनफ टु बी मिटिङ अ लट अफ अन्टरप्रेनर्स नेपालमा हु आर बिल्डिङ बोथ लोकल प्रडक्ट्स, ग्लोबल प्रडक्ट्स होइन. अनि इट्स रेयर टु हियर कि हुन्छ नि अब $1 billion कम्पनी एउटा हो, तर इट्स रेयर टु हियर समबडी सेङ आई वान्ट टु बिल्ड $100 billion कम्पनी होइन. सो के नेपालमा यो एस्पिरेसन डेफिसिट भएको हो कि इट्स अ कम्प्लिट डिफ्रेन्ट माइन्ड सेट? या हाउ डु यु इफ आई रेज दिस स्टेटमेन्ट as the topic, one of the first topic for our podcast, what would you have to say about it?
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it in Nepali as much as I can. I think हाम्रो त्यो conversation हुँदाखेरि के कुरा भएको थियो भनेपछि what's the difference between like Silicon Valley र Kathmandu, at least यहाँ के छ
Valley.
Kathmandu Valley भनौँ न. हजुर, के छ the difference, अनि Nepal at large as well. अनि धेरै ठाउँहरूले सिलिकन भ्यालीको कपी गर्न कोसिस गरेका छन्, अमेरिकामै कपी गर्न कोसिस गरेका छन् सिलिकन भ्यालीको त्यो माइन्डसेट, त्यो ड्राइभ. एन्ड म 15 वर्ष 16 वर्ष बसेँ त्यहाँ, स्ट्यानफोर्डमा पढेँ. अनि ती कम्पनीहरू जोइन गरेँ, स्टार्टअप्सहरू जोइन गरेर एक्वायर भएँ. अनि मैले के नोटिस गरेँ भनेपछि धनी लाइक एकदम सक्सेसफुल मटेरियल सक्सेस पनि पाउने मान्छेहरू, they don't drive like the fanciest cars. Like that's not where like status comes from. Okay, status चाहिँ त्यो कुराबाट आउँदैन. What I noticed was like status is about what problems are you solving, how ambitious are you, and so like to your point about the aspiration deficit, or the ambition deficit, you're jealous of people's ambition, which I think is good, like हामी भन्छौँ नि jealousy राम्रो होइन, envy राम्रो होइन, but there's like maybe some certain forms of it that are actually kind of good. And being jealous and envious of somebody who is more ambitious than you, like it creates a level of drive नि कुनै केही हुन्छ नि मान्छेमा. अनि सो त्यो हिसाबले त्यो टपिकमा चाहिँ नि हाम्रो कुरा भइरहेको थियो. And I think that's really been one of those things के मलाई if you look at त्यो मान्छेहरूको चाहिँ नि ceiling हुन्छ नि, म के बन्न सक्छु त भन्ने ceiling हुन्छ नि. अनि usually यो idea चाहिँ नि मैले Peter Thielबाट पनि सिकेको. Peter Thiel's original PayPal Mafia founder and early investor in Facebook. But त्यो सीधा बाटो भन्दा चाहिँ नि अलिकति like going off the beaten path भन्छ नि, like how do you challenge yourself to go off the beaten path. के हुन्छ भनेपछि like even in Silicon Valley, most people are not entrepreneurs, right? Most people are working at like one of these big companies. तर त्यहाँ गइन्छ अनि like राम्रो कम्पनीमा जोइन गरिन्छ होला, like Facebook कि Google कि Nvidia now, right? राम्रो कम्पनी जोइन गरिन्छ अनि पछि के हुन्छ भनेपछि पैसा कमाइन्छ. And then what ends up happening is your next step for you, म अब के गर्ने त, like मेरो यो job छ भनेपछि you look at the table next to you, okay? And then you say, oh, like त्यो मान्छे त senior manager छ नि, अनि तिनीहरूले त चाहिँ यति कमाउँछन्. So let's say like someone's making $1 lakh a year, they're like, oh, तिनीहरूले त $2 lakh कमाउँछ नि. Then that becomes like your ceiling, okay? You don't realize it, but that becomes your ceiling. So then you end up then you get to that. Then you pursue that, and then you get there, and then you're like, oh, director भन्नुपर्छ, like they make like $5 lakhs dollars a year, right? And then you get there, and like before you know it, like you're 10-15 years into your career, right? And like you haven't really escaped this sort of like ladder that's been set up for you. And if you're willing to challenge yourself, right? अलिकति चाहिँ नि त्यो ideasहरू challenge गर्ने हो भने, how can you just completely like blow up, okay? Completely destroy the ceiling. And so I am like मलाई चाहिँ नि $100 billion company बनाउँछ, मलाई $1 trillion company पनि बनाउँछ, and I hope we get there. हाम्रो सुरुवात मात्र भएको छ SecurityPal मा अहिले like 4 वर्ष त भयौँ. So long journey ahead, eh? Multi-decade journey भन्छु मैले जहिले पनि. अनि for us it's day 0, okay? Like for Amazon it was day 1, but computer started 0, so it's day 0. And so the sort of putting a statement out there, त्यो भनेपछि के हुन्छ भनेपछि चाहिँ नि it sort of instantiates it. It like makes it a thing, and it destroys that ceiling, okay? So for a lot of people, the ceiling in Silicon Valley चाहिँ नि $1 billion company बनाउने भन्ने ceiling हुन्छ के, unicorn बने. तर $1 billion company बनाएपछि unicorn भन्छ. Unicorn भएपछि चाहिँ नि moniker of success के, एक किसिमको चाहिँ नि success को चिनो हो भनौँ न, त्यो $1 billion valuation. तर how do I destroy that concept in my own head? How do I go way past it? And that's why I always say like, let's go build $100 billion company. Why stop at one, right? And that also completely changes the way you think. Okay, कसरी चाहिँ नि सोचिन्छ किनभने त्यो if you change an angle at the inception, it feels like a very small change. So the change between like 30 degrees and 31 degrees, त्यो change एकदम small, 1 degree को change, okay? But over time, over a great distance, the 1 degree change can be like much wider, né? So it's important to just like have a very different mindset at inception, because even the subtlest thing that you do at the origins of how you're building anything can end up changing where you end up, where your organization ends up, where society ends up. And so त्यो ambition deficit close गर्नलाई I think there needs to be more people that are even more ambitious, absurdly ambitious, okay? Like नहुन सक्ने नै जस्तो कुरा like in order to create things that don't exist, त्यो नभएको कुरा बनाउनलाई नभएको कुरा सोच्नुपर्छ क्या पहिले अनि त्यो 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 अनि त्यो सोच्नुपर्छ त्यो भन्नुपर्छ अनि त्यो आइडियाजहरूलाई चाहिँ नि च्यालेन्ज हुन दिनुपर्छ सो in some ways it's symbolism. It's I want to do it, but it's also a way for me to challenge myself, for other people to see, and for us to sort of change that angle at the beginning of like, if I think I'm like $1 billion company बनाउन मात्र मान्थ्यो भनेपछि चाहिँ नि हामी एकदम डिफ्रेन्ट अप्रोच लिन्छौँ तर अहिले चाहिँ नि हाम्रो अप्रोचै फरक छ नि त्यो डिग्री नै चेन्ज भयो नि इन्सेप्सनमा सो आई डोन्ट नो यदि यो कुराहरू चाहिँ मेक सेन्स गरिरहेछ कि छैन तर या
आई थिङ्क मेक सेन्स गरिरहेछ धेरैको लागि मेरो लागि आई थिङ्क दिस इज समथिङ वी आर हियरिङ द फर्स्ट टाइम फ्रम सम वान हु स्पिक्स माई ल्याङ्ग्वेज होइन तर अनि यस्तो पनि हुन्छ होला कि जस्तो अघि तिमीले भन्यो नि त सिलिकन भ्यालीमा मतलब एउटा पोइन्टमा पुग्यो अनि देन यु लुक राइट ह्यान्ड साइड अर लेफ्ट ह्यान्ड साइड एन्ड यु सी द अदर गाई मेकिङ डबल वाट युआर मेकिङ होइन देन द्याट बिकम यु एस्पिरेसन तर मेबी त्यो एउटा भयो तर तिमीले पनि त त्यही त भन्यो होइन जस्तो तिमीले यता हेऱ्यो उता हेऱ्यो तारातिर हेऱ्यो नि धेरै पैसा भएको मान्छे त के आखिर ल खुवाइ बेसिक नै हुँदो रहेछ तर एस्पिरेसन ठुलो हुँदो रहेछ सो इफ यु रियली वान अ बिग आई थिङ्क म मेरो एस्पिरेसनमा फोकस गर्नु पऱ्यो भन्ने त हुने जस्ट द्याट वाट इन्सपिरेसन यु टेक फ्रम यर सराउन्डिङ भन्ने कुरा त हो नि यु टुक अ डिफ्रेन्ट इन्सपिरेसन बाई लुकिङ पिपल अराउन्ड ओके अनि आई थिङ्क नेपालमा चाहिँ जस्तै फर इक्जाम्पल फर द फर्स्ट टाइम होला नि त कोही जसले नेपाली बोलेर आएको छ नेपाली मूलको नेपाली जस्तो देखिन्छ होइन त्यो मान्छेले चाहिँ $100 बिलियन कम्पनी बनाउनु पोसिबल छ लुक आई हेभ स्टार्टेड माई जर्नी मल्टी डेकेडमा चाहिँ आम गोना रिच देयर भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ कसैले भनिदियो समबडी हु इज सिमिलर टु अस नाउ इट्स नट समथिङ द्याट इज नट सेट बिफोर कि अघि कसैले नबनाएको कुरा बनाउनको लागि अडासियस हुनुपर्छ भने जस्तै कसैले नबनेको कुराहरू भनिसकेपछि त्यो भइसकेछ अब वान स्टेप क्लोजर जस्तो भयो अनि आई थिङ्क आई एम लभिङ हाउ यु माइट क्रिएट अ एस्पिरेसन फर अ लट अफ न्यू एन्ड ओल्ड नेपाली फाउन्डर्स एन्ड अन्टरप्रिनर्स टु ब्रेक द्याट सिलिङ टु होइन मुभिङ फरवर्ड आई थिङ्क तिमीसँग बसेर कुरा गरिसकेपछि तिम्रो पडकास्टहरू सुनिसकेपछि त्यो दार्चुला टु न्युयोर्कवाला जुन एउटा जर्नी छ होइन जहाँ चाहिँ तिमीले स्पेसिफिकली एउटा के भनेको याद छ भन्दाखेरि ब्याक इन वेन यु किड्स त्यो गाउँमा गाडी आएको देख्दाखेरिको फिलिङ कम्पेयर टु वान अफ द क्रेजी सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड न्युयोर्क होइन अनि त्यहाँको त अड्याप्टेसन 150 इयर्सको टेक्नोलोजी डिफ्रेन्स भनेर एउटा कोट गरेको मलाई याद छ होइन आई लिङ्क द पडकास्ट बिलो फर लट अफ पिपल आर रियली वान गो अबाउट इट सो यो जुन चेन्ज भयो होइन हुन त नेपालमा तिमी धेरै बस्न पाएनौ सो त्यति धेरै नेपालको कन्टेक्चुअल इन्फर्मेसन तिमीलाई छैन होला होइन तर यो जर्नीको बारेमा थोरै भनिदेऊ न सो द्याट पिपल गेट इन कन्टेक्स्ट कि where Pukar comes from and where he is now.
म 1991 मा काठमाडौँमा जन्मेको हो अनि तर मेरो फ्यामिली मेरो ड्याड साइड अफ द फ्यामिली चाहिँ दार्चुलाबाट अनि मेरो मामा घर मम साइड अफ द फ्यामिली दाङबाट त्यसो म दार्चुलामा हुर्केको हो दार्चुलामा हुर्किँदाखेरि हाम्रो इन्डोर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी थिएन घरमा I think we're still a well-to-do family. That indoor electricity थिएन, outhouse थियो, like indoor plumbing थिएन, माटोको चुलामा चाहिँ नि खाना पाक्थ्यो, भैँसीहरू थियो फर्स्ट फ्लोरमा, राइट भैँसी बिहान चाहिँ नि भैँसी कहाँ गइन्थ्यो बजेसँग दुध लिन अनि पछिबाट चाहिँ नि त्यो दुध चाहिँ नि उमालेर अनि दुध खाने लाइक त्यस्तो अनि गाडीहरू पनि थिएन एक्चुअली बाटै थिएन गाडी आउने डिस्टेन्ट हिल्सहरूमा गाडीहरू देखिन्थ्यो अनि त्यो अचम्म लाग्थ्यो कसरी चाहिँ गुडिरहेछ भनेर आकाशमा चाहिँ प्लेनहरू हेरिन्थ्यो कहिले चाहिँ बस्न पाइन्छ कि प्लेनमा अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ नि सो मेरो पहिलो भाषा त दार्चुला भाषा नै थियो मेरो अझैसम्म अलिकति बोल्छु त्यो अर्कै भाषा हुन्छ अनि पछिबाट कुनै वर्षपछि चाहिँ म दाङ पुगेँ माई ड्याड वाज मेरो बुवा त अलरेडी अमेरिका होइसिन्थ्यो 96 मा गइसक्यो सो आफ्टर माई ड्याड वान्ट to the US. My mom and me, mom and I, we went to Dang to stay with her maiti for a few years. That's where I learned Nepali. त्यहाँ चाहिँ मैले नेपाली सिकेँ अनि त्यहाँबाट 7 वर्षमा चाहिँ नि म अमेरिका गएँ 1999 मा. You know, I was almost 8 years old. अनि 1999 मा अमेरिका गएपछि म न्युयोर्क सिटीमा पुगेँ. You know, that's where my dad was. Queens, New York, Forest Hills. Now, like, probably, you know, संसारकै चाहिँ नि most diverse place मानिन्छ किनभने 800 वटा भाषाहरू बोल्छन् त्यहाँ. तर त्यो कन्सेप्ट लाइक 150 वर्षको टेक्नोलोजिकल चेन्ज मैले चाहिँ नि 8 वर्षमा महसुस गरेँ भनेको चाहिँ नि त्यही हो क्या. त्यो नो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, नो इन्डोर प्लम्बिङ, अल द्याट. दाङमा त थियो त्यो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इन्डोर प्लम्बिङ. फेरि काठमाडौँ त वे मोर मोडर्न नि. मान्छेहरू दार्चुलाको मान्छेलाई चाहिँ नि काठमाडौँ चाहिँ नि न्युयोर्क जस्तै थियो भनौँ. You know, even at that time. तर रिङ रोड बाहिर चाहिँ सबै खेती मात्र थियो. सो मलाई अझै याद छ कि रिङ रोड बाहिर त्यति थिएन बस्ती. पुरा त्यो त्यति बेलाको चाहिँ नि स्न्यापसट्स अफ मेमोरिजहरू याद आउँछ कि बसमा चढेको त. सो तर त्यही हो, त्यो 150 वर्षको लाइक technological progress I sort of experienced you know, within like 7 to 8 years, which was pretty mind-blowing. You go to New York, and my favorite city, म हुर्केको ठाउँमा 10 वर्ष बसेँ, between 7 to 17, 18, Silicon Valley जानुभन्दा अगाडि, Stanford जानुभन्दा अगाडि, and it's, you know, tall buildings, you have to, you know, stare at them like यसरी चाहिँ नि हेर्ने. अनि अझै माथि पनि देखिँदैन. लाइक म वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेन्टरमा पनि म चढेँ year 2000 मा हो कि कहिले. त्यति बेला चाहिँ त्यो ट्विन टावर्सहरू अझै थियो. सो त्यहाँ माथिबाट चाहिँ तल हेर्दाखेरि त्यो गाडी मान्छेहरू चाहिँ कमिला जस्तो देखिने. कमिला भन्दा पनि सानो. सो एकदम लाइक इन्ट्रेस्टिङ थियो.
त्यो आफूलाई अहिले रिफ्लेक्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब जुन स्कुलिङ तिम्रो सुरु भयो, जसरी हुर्क्यौ होइन, अनि do you find any differences in terms of mindset between you and other people who have been born and brought up in US and बाहिर खाँचै देखेको छैन? त्यो के माइन्डसेट फरक फिल गर्छौ?
हुन्छ. त्यो ब्रडर पर्सपेक्टिभ इमिग्रेन्ट्सहरूको माइन्डसेट डिफ्रेन्ट हुन्छ. अनि म टेक्निकली त फर्स्ट जेन पनि होइन, किनभने फर्स्ट जेन भनेको आमा बाउ इमिग्रेन्ट अनि बच्चाहरू 3 जन्मेको. म त्यहाँ जन्मेन नि, म त नेपालमै जन्मेँ. सो त्यो रेन्ज अफ द वर्ल्ड चाहिँ नि अलिकति वाइडर छ मेरो स्कोप, एपर्चर, राइट? वाइड एङ्गल जुममा चाहिँ नि दुनियाँ देख्न सकिन्छ. अनि त्यसले के गर्छ भनेपछि धेरै पर्सपेक्टिभ दिन्छ क्या. अनि
त्यस्तो केही स्पेसिफिक छ इट हेज वेयर यु हेभ एक्चुअली फेल्ट द्याट इट हेज हेल्प यु अराउन्ड विथ वाट एभर युआर डुइङ? भनौँ न एजुकेसन या अन्टरप्रेन्योरसिपमा चाहिँ त्यो डाइभर्सिटीले, त्यो वाइड एप्रेचरले चाहिँ मलाई त यो कुरा दियो जुन चाहिँ वुड नट हेभ बिन पोसिबल दि अदर वे भन्ने त्यस्तो कहिले फिल भएको छ?
एब्सोल्युटली भएको छ. अब क्विन्समा चाहिँ नि त्यतिका डिफ्रेन्ट मान्छे, मेरो 2टा बेस्ट फ्रेन्ड्सहरू चाहिँ नि एक्स सोभियत युनियनको जुइस रेफ्युजिजहरू हुन्. स्कुलमा धेरै मान्छेहरू फ्रम डिफ्रेन्ट कन्ट्रिजहरू चाहिँ नि पढ्थे. अनि सो त्यो कनेक्सन हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ के हुन्छ भनेपछि इट्स गुड टु मिट पिपल फ्रम डिफ्रेन्ट ब्याकग्राउन्ड्स एन्ड पर्सपेक्टिभ्स के, बिकज देन यु क्यान कनेक्ट विथ देम. त्यो कनेक्ट हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ नि केही पोइन्ट त भेटाउने हो नि. लाइक आई नो योर ल्याङ्ग्वेज, or I know a little bit about your culture, or I know a little bit about the place that you're from. And then I think त्यो भएपछि त्यो एक degree of self awareness पनि दिन्छ नि मान्छेलाई. So definitely, like in business, it's helped to have that like additional perspective, I think. Hey.
एउटा क्वेसन मलाई I've always wanted to ask someone who has grown and brought up बाहिर, मेबी तिमीले कतिको एन्सर गर्न सक्छौ होइन. त्यो स्कुल बच्चामा त अब सबैको सेम हो नि त होइन. मतलब बच्चामा स्कुल जाँदाखेरि, कलेज जाँदाखेरि, हुर्किँदाखेरि त जुन क्लासमा बस्यो, जुन साथीहरू भयो, सेमै हो नि त. तर while you grow आफू बढ्दै बढ्दै जाँदाखेरि म त फरक छु, मेरो स्किन फरक छ, मेरो भाषा फरक छ, मेरो खाना फरक छ भन्ने कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ त्यो आइडेन्टिटी क्ल्यारिटी हुन्छ कि इट एड्स अप कि एट टाइम्स इट्स अल्सो बदर्स. बुझ्यो मेरो प्रश्न? बिकज त्यो म डिफ्रेन्ट छु भन्ने कुरा त इभेन्चुली थाहा पाउँदै जाने हो नि त होइन. तर स्कुलमा पढ्दा उ गर्दाखेरि त 100वटा देशबाट आएको भए पनि या जस्ट फ्रेन्ड्स होइन. अनि त्यो सेल्फ अवेरनेस एउटा पोइन्ट अफ टाइममा त्यस्तो भएको छ जहाँ चाहिँ म त फरक छु नि त, म त के अरे मेरो खाना फरक छ, मेरो भाषा फरक छ, या मेरो सोच्ने तरिका फरक छ भनेर त्यस्तो am I being able to make sense?
I think so. I think I understand what you're saying. For me, like, there weren't, first of all, म 1999मा त्यहाँ जाँदाखेरि मेरो स्कुलमा चाहिँ म मात्र थिएँ होला नेपाली मेरो एलिमेन्ट्री स्कुलमा, मेरो जुनियर हाई स्कुलमा पनि एसियन्सहरू थिए अरू. अनि अहिले त धेरै हुन्छ नि नेपालीहरू. लाइक नेपाली पपुलेसन त मेजर सिटिजहरूमा त राम्रै छ, लार्ज भइसक्यो, लार्ज कम्युनिटिजहरू छन्. सो त्यति बेलाको कुरा गर्ने हो भने मेरो like I was different, but then so were other people. And I think it's good to know that you're, that there's others. You get like you understand that you're a part of something much bigger. Okay, and it's good. It shapes how you really see the world. Like. You understand, you learn how to translate your culture and your ideas, and not literally translate from Nepali to English, but translate in the sense that explain, right? Like explain to others and stuff like that. So it really helps your communication skills. So I used to be bullied. Like I actually मैले सुजीको हलवा लगाएको थिएँ, and people thought it was like a really weird thing. सुजीको हलवा. So like त्यो लगाएको थिएँ स्कुलमा. I got made fun of. I don't know why. Kids are kids, right? Like kids will make fun of anything. मेरो नाम पनि इन्ट्रेस्टिङ थियो, पुकार. तर I think Queensमा हुर्किने मान्छेहरू, like it's a melting pot भन्छन् क्या. It's like from all different walks of life. I think if मेरो experience would have been probably very different if म मिडवेस्टमा हुर्केको भए कि अरू ठाउँमा जहाँ चाहिँ नि त्यो साउथ एसियन नै जनसङ्ख्याहरू चाहिँ नि कम हुन्थ्यो यताउता. तर मेरो सुरुमा चाहिँ नि म 3 क्लास जोइन गरेँ. म यहाँ 1 क्लास दाङमा पढेँ, अनि second grade नै मैले स्किप गरेँ because there was no second grade in my life. Right? So straight third grade, अनि third grade join किनभने एज हिसाबले हुन्छ नि. So third grade join गरेँ. अनि
Do you remember first few months, days of third grade?
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I couldn't understand English. Like I just like I was like a little mini barbarian, like I didn't know. मलाई केही थाहा थिएन, जङ्गली जस्तै थिएँ. Like एक हिसाबले like English न थाहा पाउने.
त्यो के गर्ने त त्यो क्लासमा त अब इंग्लिशै किन त
English as a second language मा थिएँ. And then you pick it up really quickly, right? Especially त्यो म गएको एजमा त like you pick it up really quickly. And now like English is basically the language. त्यो सबभन्दा म धेरै त मैले इङ्ग्लिस नै बुझ्छु, जान्छु. नेपाली भाषा चाहिँ नि भुल्या छैन त्यो. सो आई थिङ्क कुनै मान्छेहरूलाई सरप्राइजिङ लाग्छ म 7-8 वर्षमा गएर चाहिँ नेपाली बोल्छु भनेर. किनभने there's some other folks that maybe struggle even पछि गएर पनि. तर
घरमा चाहिँ नेपाली
नै बोलिन्थ्यो mom dadसँग.
That's what it kept alive, हैन?
Yeah, and then the community, the Nepali community in Queens was pretty big. And so त्यो भाषा भन्ने कुरा I'm glad, like and I can understand like Hindi as well. So like I think it's good to have those like other languages. Yeah.
Do you watch Hindi movies?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I've started watching more now that like म नेपालसँग धेरै कनेक्ट भएपछि चाहिँ नि किनभने growing up between the ages of 7 till I thought about building a company with an office here. Nepal was just a place I went to every 3 to 4 years to enjoy. No, I've never. कहिले दसैँ तिहारमा यहाँ छैन तर वेडिङ्सहरूमा आएको छु क्या वेडिङ so
रिलेटिभ्सको
yeah relatives-हरूको cousins-हरूको यताउताको wedding-हरूमा चाहिँ नि आएको थिएँ अनि so there was just like a place that I went for for weddings and stuff. But now my view on Nepal has obviously changed pretty drastically the last 2-3 years ma. Yeah.
अर्को मेरो अस्ति रिफ्लेक्सन जुन चाहिँ आई थिङ्क द्याट वाज समथिङ आई हर्ड इट फर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन माई लाइफ what he said was maybe Nepal and America is very different from a country perspective, but Kathmandu and San Francisco maybe not very different from a city perspective. So city has a bigger brand भन्ने भएको थियो कि नि मैले त सुनेकै थिएँ मैले त्यसरी सोचेकै थिएँ कहिले पनि होइन अनि आई थिङ्क यो podcastingको one of the things that I love about is I get to meet people, different people, and they give me ideas that I've never heard before, and that challenges me. होइन अनि खतरा लाग्यो मलाई त्यो कुरा होइन could you tell a little bit more about how do you find cities similar than the country itself?
Yeah, I mean cities are really alike, right? Like cities within major countries are more alike than the countries themselves, right? Moscow is probably much more closer to New York City than Russia is to the United States,
Yes.
right? As a stark example, you could say the same thing about Shanghai and New York. Kathmandu is much more similar to a major city in New York than Nepal is to the United States. A lot of that has to do with just
Internet?
yeah, a lot of that has to do with the internet, I think. But cities, major cities within any country, they have to form in a certain way, right? There's usually an international airport or two. So that means that there's a constant flow of new ideas, नयाँ मान्छेहरू आउँछ, नयाँ आइडियाजहरू आउँछ, गुड्सहरू आउँछ, एक्सेस हुन्छ. इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिने बाध्यतालाई पनि सिटिजहरूमा पहिले बनाइन्छ. होइन त्यहाँ बढी जनसङ्ख्या हुन्छ, त्यहाँ बढी मान्छेहरू हुन्छन्.
डाइभर्सिटी पनि धेरै हुन्छ अनि द निड टु एक्सेल द निड टु ग्रो पनि एकदमै बेसी हुने भयो नि त किन भन्दाखेरि lot of people from all over the country comes to Kathmandu and they don't have a house, so they have to make money. They have to struggle. They have to perform. होइन अनि
So your identity also gets त्यो identity पनि अलिकति neutralize हुन्छ because you have to go त्यो rhythmमा चल्नुपर्छ क्या. So like you have to work, काम गर्नु पर्यो, पैसा कमाउनु पर्यो, apartmentको लागि तिर्नु पर्यो, खानाको लागि तिर्नु पर्यो. So it sets a certain like pattern. There's a system. There's a certain system to operate गर्नुपर्छ कुनै systemमा. So cities in general are just मलाई लाग्छ cities are a great platform for change. Okay, they're a great platform for to build on top of. So अनि टेक्नोलोजीले के गरेको छ भनेपछि चाहिँ नि टेक्नोलोजिजहरूले चाहिँ नि सिटिजहरू they brought it right next to one another, right? So हामीले चाहिँ नि यो ओशियनको बारेमा कुरा गरेका छौँ लास्ट टाइम भेट्दाखेरि. There's 4 other oceansहरू नै. We just looked it up to verify. Pukar चाहिँ नि verify गर, but there's Arctic, Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Ocean. There's 4 oceans. But आजको like today and पहिले oceansहरू किन important थियो, bodies of water किन important थियो भनेपछि tradeको लागि important थियो क्या. So that's why like a lot of cities are built on harbors or and near rivers and stuff like that. त्यो चाहिँ नि tradeहरूको. तर trade चाहिँ नि एक किसिमको commerce हो अनि अहिले चाहिँ नि most commerce happens on the internet or with some direct connection to the internet नै. So त्यो आइडियाज त्यो गुड्सहरू सर्भिसेसहरू यताउता बिक्री गर्नलाई you don't necessarily need direct access to water. And so the fifth ocean, if you were, right, is the internet, right? Like so Nepal landlocked भयो भने ocean त छ नि, internet भन्ने ocean त छ नि, महासागर नि. अनि it's probably a more important ocean than any of the other oceans. And so I think about that a lot because what the internet has done is Kathmandu is just as many clicks away as New York. Okay? It's you know
Or Kathmandu is as click to New York as San Francisco is closer to New York, in terms of
exactly.
screen ko perspective.
Exactly. It's all right next. It's Kathmandu is 1 click away. New York is 1 click away. Like Singapore is 1 click away. So the major cities are whatever happens, like there's going to be a tremendous amount of progress that is going to be driven by these cities sort of converging in many ways because of the internet. And now there's like mega cities. So if you look at in the U.S., there's these mega cities forming. So New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Washington D.C. Like that whole corridor is a mega city. California, like already, like there's so many cities that form. San Francisco is very tiny, by the way. San Francisco is tiny.
जाति मैले बस्छु
म San Francisco बस्छु. San Francisco is 7 by 7 7 times 7 miles by 7 miles.
San Francisco
12 kilometer by 12 kilometer.
SecurityPal को
हजुर हाम्रो हेडक्वार्टर San Francisco मै छ. San Francisco मा चाहिँ नि 9 लाख भन्दा बढी मान्छेहरू छैनन्. त्यति धेरै पपुलेसन हैन. तर SF त्यो Bay Area भन्छ के त्यो city भयो नि. There's a bunch of other cities around the Bay Area, and Silicon Valley is sort of part of that larger Bay Area. त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि अब 1 करोड मान्छे छन् होला. So think about that. Like 9 लाख पनि छैनन् San Francisco मा, तर 1 करोड मान्छे चाहिँ नि त्यो SF Bay Area मा होलान् भनेपछि चाहिँ नि it's a pretty substantial population. So these mega cities are forming, and that's a pretty interesting sort of like as somebody that's like a student of how societies form and change and creating platforms for change. I think about that a lot. Like Kathmandu, म के भन्छु भनेपछि हाम्रो अफिस हाम्रो हेडक्वार्टर San Francisco मा छ. हाम्रो मेजर प्रेजेन्स न्युयोर्कमा पनि छ. हाम्रो धेरैवटा कर्मचारीहरू चाहिँ नि न्युयोर्कमा पनि हुनुहुन्छ. अनि
फिजिकल अफिस नै छ.
फिजिकल अफिस चाहिँ नि हामीले के गर्छौँ भनेपछि हाम्रो मान्छेहरू एकट्ठा भएपछि चाहिँ नि हामीले टेम्पररी अफिस बनाउँछौँ. बट अदरवाइज लाइक मान्छेहरू घरबाटै काम गर्छन् न्युयोर्कमा. सो द्याट्स वाइ रिजनल लाइक हब जस्तै छ न्युयोर्क. So San Francisco मा त physical office नै छ. हामी Salesforce Tower मा छौँ, which is like the tallest building in San Francisco. It might be the tallest building west of the Mississippi, I think, on the western half of the U.S. So we have a small office there, सानो office छ. अनि so San Francisco, New York, and then Kathmandu. Kathmandu, we have the biggest office, Balwacharma. So we have like 125 people, 125 जना. अनि we're gonna grow, and we're hiring for engineers, we're hiring for designers, we're hiring for security research analysts. Anybody, if you know English, communication skills, matra थाहा छ भन्यो भने हाम्रो रोलहरु छ. If you're more technical, हाम्रो रोलहरु छ. So like there's a broad range of roles that we have, and we're consistently hiring. Kathmandu मा.
For anyone who is listening and watching so far, full episode सुन्नु होला, because we will link few landing page, few forms below.
Yeah.
If you can fill them up, somebody from SecurityPal will get connected with you, and then maybe a new opportunity can be created there.
Yeah. हैन रिच आउट गरे हुन्छ. त्यो लिंक्सहरुमा चाहिँ नि रिच आउट गरे पनि हुन्छ. हाम्रो एउटा catch all email पनि छ, careers@securitypalhq.com. नि securitypalhq.com, careers@ अनि त्यहाँ रिच आउट गरे पनि हुन्छ, अनि फर्म फिल आउट गरे पनि हुन्छ, अनि we'll get back to anybody. Yeah.
You while we're talking about how cities are similar, यही perspective part हो. You also mentioned your idea of Siliconpeaks and how you bought a very expensive domain, siliconpeaks.com. Can you disclose how much did you buy it for?
Oh my God, I think it was like $4,000.
Okay.
$4,000 domain. Yeah.
So you bought a domain, siliconpeaks.com.
Siliconpeaks.com. The idea really came from so the idea of cities. I think how cities brand themselves is super important. काठमाडौँको historical brand त अब यहाँ चाहिँ नि गाँजा खाने third temples-हरुमा बस्ने चाहिँ नि historical identity त छ नि. अब New York identity के छ, financial center. LA को identity, Los Angeles को identity, Hollywood. San Francisco को identity, Silicon Valley. सो एउटा चाहिँ नि तर हरेक सिटीमा पनि एक्चुली टेक्नोलोजी आइडेन्टिटी त छ अब इनफ्याक्ट धेरैवटा सहरहरूले चाहिँ नि दुनियाँमा अमेरिकामाबाट सुरु भएको जहाँ चाहिँ नि मान्छेहरूले ब्रान्ड गर्न कोसिस गरेका छन् क्या सिलिकन भ्यालीकै कन्सेप्ट लिएर अब न्युयोर्कलाई चाहिँ नि सिलिकन एली भन्थे त्यो turn of during the last dot-com bubble. There's like different regions of the city. Los Angeles like Silicon Beach भन्छन्. San Diego like जाने Silicon Sands. Denver, Boulder area like जाने Silicon Flatirons. Austin like जाने Silicon Hills. So there's all these like different like brands for and if you're trying to sort of like build some type of tech identity, you sort of need like a region to an identity and a brand. And so my idea was like, okay, how do you like brand like Kathmandu, Nepal, like like this region, right? And I would say Nepal's small enough that whatever brand Kathmandu builds, you can kind of apply it to
whole country
to the whole country, especially if the topics and technology भएपछि चाहिँ नि पुरै countryमै apply हुने तरिकाले चाहिँ नि गर्न सकिन्छ. So 8 out of the 14 ice peaks त हिँडै छ. So I was like, there's no place in the world that probably can call itself Siliconpeaks more than this place,
yes.
Given the density of all of the Himalayan mountain ranges, so that's when I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy the domain Siliconpeaks. Nobody had it, and right now it just redirects to our website. So if you go to siliconpeaks.com, it redirects to SecurityPal. But the goal would be to let the community of the incredible technology companies that we have here really drive what to put behind that domain and use it as a way to showcase the talent and the incredible entrepreneurial dynamism यो cityको entrepreneurial dynamism display गर्नलाई र talent display गर्नलाई त्यो famous quotes talent is evenly distributed but opportunity is not भन्छ नि. So there's a tremendous amount of talent Kathmandu धेरै talent छ, नेपालभरि धेरै talent छ, South Asiaमा धेरै talent छ अनि एकदम राम्रो cities-हरु छन् यहाँ चाहिँ जसले राम्रै गरेका छन् like Bangalore, right? Singapore, Bangkok. So how do we put Kathmandu into the mix as well? How do we brand Siliconpeaks? And so त्यो idea चाहिँ नि हामीले अलिकति you need ideas that stick in people's minds, and Siliconpeaks is one that immediately sticks,
yes,
right?
It does.
And there's a nice sort of easy way to explain it. It makes a lot of sense. Ideas ko pani virality coefficient huncha ni. So kunai consumer product, kunai video ko chani virality coefficient. Ideas ko pani virality coefficient huncha.
100%.
And so how do you create idea that is easy to sort of label and brand that has a high virality coefficient? Which then allows us to sort of brand, what's going on here.
तिमी युएसमा हुँदा पनि were you in a regular contact with talents over here? Because you raised quite a good amount of funding, right? $21 million US dollar, and you had an opportunity to open office anywhere in the world, maybe even in Philippines. होइन. सो नेपाली काठमाडौँ नै चुज गर्नुको कारण चाहिँ पहिलेदेखि कनेक्टेड थियो कि यस्तो ट्यालेन्ट्सहरू छ त्यहाँ मलाई इजी हुन्छ हायर गर्नको लागि, टिम बिल्ड गर्नको लागि भनेर कि देन यु थट अफ काठमाडौँ जान्छु भेट्छु आई विल स्टार्ट एक्सप्लोरिङ नेटवर्क्स भन्ने कस्तो थियो त्यो प्रोसेस चाहिँ?
Yeah. So हामीले we raised $21 million from top Silicon Valley investors, including Craft Ventures, which was founded by David Sachs, who was part of the PayPal mafia. And we have investors like Martin Casado from Andreessen Horowitz, Frederick Karist from Okta co-founder. Okta is a publicly traded, I imagine it's a $15-20 billion company. So we have a handful of founders that have successfully exited companies for north of $1 billion that are our investors. Um, when so we had a Nepal presence. We had some contractors here even before we raised money. I was just paying them out of like customer revenue out of my own pocket.
And how did you recruit them त्यति बेला पनि?
अनि त्यो के भएको थियो भनेपछि like SecurityPal and हामी कुरा गर्छौँ यो SecurityPal, like what does it actually do at the end of the day, but for the work that we needed to do, I realized that I couldn't stay up all night to do it, okay? And it needed to be done like the next day. त्यो अर्को दिन नै submit गर्नु पर्थ्यो whatever work we were doing. And so I was staying up all night to do a lot of these things. रातभरि उठेर so मलाई चाहिँ के भयो भनेपछि okay कहाँ जाने त, like where is it daytime? And well, it's daytime in Asia when it's nighttime in the US. And then when I started looking at Asia, there were opportunities. Like I could have gone to Philippines. It would have actually been easier for me to go to the Philippines in many ways because there are many companies. The Silicon Valley ma धेरै companyहरुले चाहिँ Philippines सँग business गर्छन्. अनि त्यो playbook already छ के, like it's already like a path that a lot of people have tested and it works and it's been validated. So there would be like less risks associated with that, right? I could have gone to Vietnam. Vietnam was up and coming. Some people suggested like Malaysia as well. But for me, like I had actually reached out to my cousin, America cities. And like, hey, ma यस्तो यस्तो गरिरहेको छु, like, do you know anybody? And ऊ चाहिँ नि नेपालमै कति वर्षसम्म पढेर कलेज उता अमेरिकामा गएको, so तैँले चिनेको कुनै साथीहरू छन् जसलाई चाहिँ contract work गर्न मन लाग्छ. So he introduced me to a couple of people, and then and that was like a really good early test for whether it would work or not. Okay, that was त्यो एकदम hypothesis testing stage मा थियो. So I wanted to make sure I didn't have to stay up all night, and so these guys tested. I was trying to test if they could actually do the work the way we needed to do it, the quality. Once I realized that it could get there, that was really the point at which I realized that there could be something pretty massive here. त्यो चाहिँ नि like त्यो business need-बाट नै आएको कुरा हो के. अनि हाम्रो कुरा पनि भइरहेको थियो, like अब हामीले चाहिँ यत्रो अफिस यहाँ चाहिँ बनाइसक्यौँ, हामीले धेरै मान्छेहरूलाई इम्प्लोय गर्छौँ यताउता, लाइक राम्रै काम गरिरहेको छौँ अनि होपफुली इट कन्टिन्युज नक अन वुड है. तर त्यो कुनै चाहिँ नि एकदमै ठुलो मिसन लाइक यो गर्नुपर्छ यताउता भनेर चाहिँ नि आएन नि. लाइक it came from a business need. We had a business need. We were looking for talented people. It happened to be the case that there are very talented people in Kathmandu. That in itself should be a very powerful story. Okay?
100%.
More powerful than maybe just as powerful, but I think it's more powerful than what I would say like more the sort of like charitable lens through which people look at doing work here. Okay? I come from nonprofits and stuff like that. My early career foundations are there. I'm very passionate about giving back. तर यहाँ आएको like I was like need हिसाबले चाहिँ नि आहो अरू ठाउँहरुमा जान सकिन्थ्यो. Luckily चाहिँ नि मेरो कनेक्सन्सहरुले चाहिँ नि मलाई नेपाल ताने. त्यो कन्भिनियन्ट भयो. म यहाँ आएँ, मैले आइडिया भ्यालिडेट गरेँ अनि पछिबाट त्यहाँबाट रियलाइज गरेँ कि यहाँ चाहिँ नि स्केल गर्न सकिन्छ. So त्यो चाहिँ नि क्यापिटलिजम, प्रब्लम सल्भिङ, यसले ड्रिभन भएको कुरा हो क्या. अनि now there's 125 people and hopefully 150 and 200 and hopefully we continue to hire more. And यहाँ क्रिएट भएको जब्सहरुले अमेरिकामा जब्स क्रिएट गरिरहेछ. अमेरिकामा क्रिएट भएको जब्सले यहाँ क्रिएट भइरहेछ. And I'm really passionate about that, the fact that we're creating jobs in both places. Because last month I'm American though, like I don't have a Nepali passport or nagrita. But that's the power of technology, ne? So power of technology is that it sort of gives everybody a chance, and the size of the pie grows, okay? That's what we say, right? You want to grow the size of the pie, so more and more people have more and more opportunity. A rising tide lifts all boats, भन्छ नि. So I think that's a very very powerful idea, but it really was because of the business need. ले गर्दाखेरि हो.
So now let's maybe अब कति मान्छेलाई चाहिँ अब security pal भनेको चाहिँ के हो भन्ने क्युरियस हुनसक्छ होइन, which is why you are here, which is why we are doing this podcast, and which is why a lot of bigger aspiration and mission is connected to. So tell me a bit about गर्न चाहिँ के गर्छ security pal ले चाहिँ, यसको मेन कोर बिजनेस चाहिँ के हो?
So SecurityPal ले चाहिँ नि we build a platform. हामीले एउटा प्लेटफर्म बनाउँछौँ जो customer assurance platform है. Customer assurance platform. And what does that really mean? Well, विदेशमा like विदेशभरि भनौँ यहाँ पनि अब यो प्रब्लम चाहिँ नि आउँछ होला बिस्तारै. तर जब एउटा कम्पनीले अर्को कम्पनीको चाहिँ नि सफ्टवेयर कि सामानहरू चाहिँ नि किन्दाखेरि त्यो किन्ने प्रोसेसभन्दा अगाडि नै त्यो डिल क्लोज हुने प्रोसेसभन्दा अगाडि यो एकदम क्रिटिकल स्टेप हुन्छ क्या. त्यो क्रिटिकल स्टेप भनेको चाहिँ नि सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू भन्ने हुन्छ क्या. त्यो सो हाम्रो कस्टमर फिग्मा भन्ने कम्पनी चाहिँ नि मोस्ट पिपल हेभ हर्ड अफ इट. फिग्मा इज अ डिजाइन कम्पनी. फिग्माले चाहिँ नि अब आफ्नो सफ्टवेयर चाहिँ नि ठुल्ठुलो कम्पनीहरूलाई बिक्री गर्दाखेरि त्यो कम्पनीहरूले चाहिँ नि त फिग्मा किन्न मन गर्छ नि, तर कसरी भ्यालिडेट गर्ने कि फिग्माको सफ्टवेयर चाहिँ नि सिक्योर छ, यु नो, कसरी भ्यालिडेट गर्ने. अनि त्यो प्रोसेसमा चाहिँ नि सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू दिनुपर्छ. सो हाम्रो कस्टमर्सहरू चाहिँ नि ओपन एआई, स्न्यापच्याट, राइट, सबैको चाहिँ नि प्रडक्ट्सहरू छ, सर्भिसेसहरू छ. सो त्यो बिक्री हुनुभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ नि त्यो सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू पास गरेन भने चाहिँ नि बिक्री हुँदैन. अनि त्यो सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू प्रोसेस चाहिँ नि एकदमै म्यानुअल हुन्छ क्या. लाइक इट इन्भल्भ्स filling out tons of forms, gathering documents from your internal systems. अनि एकदम nuanced questionsहरू हुन्छ, like you know, how do you encrypt customer data, right? Like okay, so हामीले त्यो like त्यो कम्पनीले सोध्न सक्छ, okay हामी तिम्रो सफ्टवेयर किन्न तयार छौँ, तर हामीले तिमीलाई डेटा दियो भने त्यो डेटा कहाँ जान्छ त? मतलब तपाईँले ल्यापटपमा राख्नुहुन्छ कि आफ्नो सर्भर छ कि क्लाउडमा राख्नुहुन्छ कि कुन क्लाउडमा राख्नुहुन्छ, कोसँग छ एक्सेस त्यो क्लाउडमा, भएपछि त्यहाँ राखेपछि चाहिँ नि कसले एक्सेस गर्छ, कसरी एक्सेस गर्छ, टु फ्याक्टर अथेन्टिकेसन छ कि छैन एक्सेस गर्दाखेरि, अनि त्यो मान्छे जसले एक्सेस गर्छ टु फ्याक्टर अथेन्टिकेसनलाई एक्सेस गर्यो भने त्यसको ब्याकग्राउन्ड चेक हुन्छ कि हुँदैन, त्यसको चाहिँ नि रेफरेन्स चेक्सहरू हुन्छ कि हुँदैन, अनि त्यो डेटा चाहिँ नि अरू डेटासँग चाहिँ नि मिलाइन्छ कि मिलाइँदैन, कोमिङ्गलिङ हुन्छ कि हुँदैन. There's thousands of these questions, okay? And that's just one domain. अब डेटा हिसाबले अब तपाईँको चाहिँ नि लाइक डेटा लाइक के हुन्छ र कसरी हुन्छ र कसरी प्रोटेक्ट गरिन्छ. People, like what type of people do you hire, what type of training and processes, right? And then of course like systems and processes and tools, like are those like really secure? So त्यो security र compliance चाहिँ नि हरेक कुराहरू चाहिँ नि भ्यालिडेट गर्नुपर्छ before these deals happen. अनि यो डिल्सहरू चाहिँ सानसानो डिल्सहरू होइन, यो डिल्सहरू चाहिँ नि अब hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, millions of dollars per year, like large amounts of data, sensitive data about financial health of users is being flown back, like being
back and forth,
transmitted back and forth. And you have to do the security review किनभने यो इन्डस्ट्रीले पनि माग्छ, यो चाहिँ नि यो सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू चाहिँ नि गर्नु नै पर्छ भन्छ इन्डस्ट्री. लाइक यदि कम्पनीले सिक्युरिटी रिभ्यू बिना कोही भेन्डर किन्यो रे अनि डेटा सेयर गरेर त्यो भेन्डरसँग अनि त्यसको ह्याक भयो, लिक भयो भनेपछि चाहिँ नि दे आर लायबल क्या, बिकज दे डिडन्ट take enough steps to properly secure or validate the vendor. So it's a very tricky. So we what we like to call, we sit in the middle of the commercial transaction, okay, between buyers of software and services and sellers of software or services, and we're in the middle of the transaction. And we we provide a customer assurance platform such that त्यो security review, compliance review, governance risk review त्यो जे हुन्छ नि त्यो एकदम fast हुन सकोस्, like छिटो and with accuracy. So fast with accuracy, with quality. And so we've built a platform that does that. And so we help sellers of software, जसले software बिक्री गर्न लाग्छ, we help them better document their security posture, have a better understanding of their controls, even help them improve some of their controls, such that when they're selling their software, it's much easier for them to sell. It's much easier for them to, instead of it taking months, महिनौं लाग्नुभन्दा हप्तौं लाग्छ, हप्तौं लाग्नुभन्दा दिनौं लाग्छ, दिनौं लाग्नुभन्दा घन्टौं लाग्छ नि. So it adds a lot of efficiency for sellers. अनि हाम्रो प्लेटफर्ममा बायर्सहरूलाई पनि सहयोग गर्ने टुल्सहरू छ जहाँ चाहिँ नि they can ask better questions of the sellers. Okay, so instead of asking things that are basic like what cloud provider do you use or something like that, you can ask really critical questions about the company's security. So it really is at the middle of this like buyers and sellers of software.
So you're not representing one the other, right? You are just creating a bridge. Just
a platform, exactly. A bridge. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. We're creating this bridge between buyers and sellers of software, and that bridge is the customer assurance platform.
So both the buyers, so it's not just the sellers who hire you, but also the buyers also know key. It's the SecurityPal involved in.
Yeah, exactly. So buyers-हरुलाई चाहिँ नि आफ्नो सबै भेन्डरहरूलाई एसेस गर्नुपर्छ security review हिसाबले. पहिलोचोटि किन्दाखेरि मात्र हैन कि हरेक वर्ष.
So this is not one time thing.
Yeah, it's a recurring revenue business.
So once a year.
It's at least once a year.
At least once a year. तर यसो भन्दा जस्तै फिक्स त्यो उसकोलाई जस्तै let's say Figmaको कन्टेक्स्टमा they want to sell the service to Microsoft, they do it once. Now the Figma wants to sell it to OpenAI, they have to do it again.
Exactly.
So there's every new sales, you guys are getting involved.
Yeah, and every year, right? Every year, so yeah. So त्यो के गर्छ भनेपछि हामी, so then there's a lot of value to what we do, right? So if you think about it, हाम्रो platform through probably like at this point $300 to $500 million worth of transactions, commercial transactions, have touched SecurityPal. Okay, SecurityPal has helped accelerate that.
Nice.
So, मेरो philosophy के छ भनेपछि commercial transactions, like they are like the lifeblood of progress. Okay,
100%.
Like you have to allow people that are buying and selling to make that process happen faster and easier. That is actually how you increase GDP. Ne? That is actually how you increase progress. That is how you get better, cooler things. So there is a lot of things that are slowing down commercial transactions. Okay, commercial transactions are slowed down by yo security, compliance, data, privacy, risks, leaks, hacks like गर्दाखेरि. अनि त्यही भएर चाहिँ यो security review process चाहिँ नि थुपारिरहेछ. त्यो पहिले यत्रो सानो हुन्थ्यो त्यो security review process, अहिले चाहिँ यत्रो ठुलो भइसक्यो. So हाम्रो role चाहिँ यो economy-मा एकदम critical छ क्या, like global economy. We believe at SecurityPal, because if you don't chip away at that, then commercial transactions are going to slow down, and that's going to lead to much less innovation. Okay, and so we have to do like हामी एकदम सानो role play गरिरहेको छौँ, that it's such a critical role, and we are literally moving these transactions faster by weeks and months. अनि मान्छेहरूले भन्छ होला like weeks or months ले faster गर्यो भने किन हुन्छ र? तर actually that's everything compounds नि.
100%.
अनि यसको बारेमा पनि हाम्रो कुरा भएको थियो. So हरेक कुरा चाहिँ compound हुन्छ, compound interest जसरी. So यदि एउटा pharmaceutical companyले best in breed product चाहिँ नि एक महिना अगाडि पाएर deploy गर्न सक्यो भनेपछि that means 10 years down the line they could discover a drug like a decade faster. Okay,
100%.
Because it's all about compounding those efficiencies, and so our customers are selling their products to pretty much every Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 in the world. Government organizations like from NASA to like the Department of Defense. We're sitting in the middle of those transactions, and we feel really proud as a team that we are like the re-accelerator of commercial transactions, okay, through all these like critical processes that have been built up. Yeah.
And तिमीहरूको एन्डमा चाहिँ it's the humans who are filling the on behalf of the company, right? Filling the forms, answering the reviews.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is that's how it started, है. त्यही भएर मैले भनेको थिएँ नि अघि न, like हामीलाई night time workers चाहिएको थियो, like because in the beginning I was manually doing all these security reviews. I was filling them out, I was gathering the documents, I was doing all that. But now with what we've built with our AI and with software is that it's really gone, like we've really gone from this like services business. In the beginning on day one, or day zero, day 0.0, we were services. But now we're like a software SaaS platform. So we have software that is used by these companies to help them self-serve. So the thing that differentiates us is three-pronged. हामीले build गरेको software छ जो companiesहरूले use गर्छन्, like OpenAI or Snapchat or ZipRecruiter or some of these companies.
The customer assurance platform.
Yeah, the customer assurance platform software exists. So त्यो हाम्रो proprietary भयो. त्यसमाथि चाहिँ नि हामीले आफ्नै artificial intelligence tools build गरेका छौँ. So we have software, and then we've applied artificial intelligence on top of that. And then we've applied a layer of human experts. So यदि कुनै simple problem छ भने software solve गर्न सक्छ. अलिकति बढी challenging छ भने software plus AI solve गर्न सक्छ. अनि एकदमै challenging छ भने software partially solve गर्छ, AI partially solve गर्छ, then humans are there. So we're the only platform that integrates these like three into one. And eventually, we see like the AI is gonna get better and better. And then the humans, or in our case, like these security analysts, these GRC analysts, these customer assurance experts, will move towards more and more difficult and more challenging problems in this journey. So the AI is never going to replace the work that needs to be done. It's just that there's so much more work that actually needs to be done, and we'll just move up the chain of complexity. So what's happening right now is like software is eating away at a lot of complex things, which means that the humans just have to go move towards solving more complex problems that humans are uniquely equipped to solve for. So that's what's unique about it. It's the software, it's plus the AI, plus our excellent team of experts. And then we package that, and then we allow companies to do subscriptions or annual multi-year subscriptions or do that, depending on how big your problem is, depending on how many transactions you go through, depending on how many different vendors you have or customers you have. Yeah.
For anyone listening, I'll link a article below published in A16Z about software is eating the world.
Yeah.
And that I think would really make sense. Pukarle भनेको कुरा र त्यसलाई combine गर्यो भने चाहिँ it would make a lot of more sense.
Software is eating the world is a quote from Mark Andreessen, who founded Andreessen Horowitz.
And now because of NVIDIA, there's a new narrative. Hardware is eating the world.
Yeah. So a lot of people have, I think हाम्रो pitch deck मै के छ भनेपछि हाम्रो दुईटा course छ के, software is eating the world. But regulation, compliance, security, privacy, GRC is eating software. Okay?
Nice.
So like we have that at the very beginning of our pitch deck. And so while software is eating the world, and there's a much broader thing that's happening, which is that हाम्रो, if we're really going to talk about what's happening to society, if we take like a multi-thousand or multi-100-year view, what's happening is we're in the middle of really a grand battle between the nation state, or this idea of even a country. It's a pretty recent idea, nation states and countries and the way that we've organized the world. It's only a couple of 100 years old.
Have you read this book called Network State by...
Yeah, Balaji. I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with it. And what's happening is the nation state has a certain identity. It has a certain authority. The most sort of like I guess the biggest authority that it really has is it has the right to tax its people, and then it provides services in return for that. It's a sort of like a contract. And the state has what traditionally is known as like monopoly on violence, right? Like state like that's how it really works. Um, uh, um, and and most commerce happened physically. Okay, so you needed to show up at a port. You needed to like actually bring goods in. So because most commerce happened off the internet, the nation state or countries are because I think they power theo. But most commerce has moved to the internet. And so that's really questioning the need for the nation state and governments in the way that we've thought about them for the past couple of centuries. Okay? And so we're really living in a very interesting time period where there's a battle going on, right? And you almost see it when people start saying, oh, there's more people on Facebook than in India or China, right? They're comparing these platforms to countries, right? Because they have that much like power and influence over our lives, right? And so there is this like big battle, and this is why the GDPR, the regulations, your privacy, your data, your rules, or your EU ले जाने just pass गरेको AI laws हरू यो के भइरहेछ भनेपछि they need to control these things before it kind of challenges their existence in some ways. So that is sort of like a meta. That is something that's meta that's happening right now. Not meta from the Facebook standpoint, like it's just sort of like having a level of metacognition on the overall arching problem. So, commercial transactions are being slowed down because most commerce has moved to the internet. And in the internet, you need data and information. And data and information is power. And historically, nation states have been the ones that have had that power. But now private companies do as well. So what do you do?
And now we are also talking about, like, if we have to quote Balaji, he talks a lot about blockchain from a very political standpoint, right? And that's where the whole of his idea comes from, about how there would be more new cities just based on the internet.
Yeah. I think, in some ways, like, we're probably already there. Listen, Kathmandu basera, like, you can live a life in Kathmandu in Nepal, which is in Nepal, where you don't interact with, most of like the society here, okay? You can wake up, you can sign online, you work for like your global colleagues, right? You get paid, in dollars. You can. Or in crypto or whatever, right? You shuttle yourself in a nice car, which is basically like a tunnel from your nice house to nice restaurants. You can shuttle yourself to an airport. You can go fly to Singapore. You can go do vacation in Maldives or whatever. And then think about like how crazy that is compared to how much you needed, how much the nation state, how much governments and how much institutions needed to do for you maybe 100 years ago. And how often you would need to run into some type of like authority to be able to do that.
Not even 100 years, like let's say 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah.
Right. So now I think this conversation can go to all different.
Yeah. We can talk about this forever.
Yeah. Now, अब SecurityPal को बारेमा हामीले कुरा गऱ्यौँ हैन. अब यो जब अपर्च्युनिटिजको पर्सपेक्टिभबाट अझै अलिकति डिग इन गरौँ न त. जस्तै एज अफ नाउ कस्तो एक्सपर्टिज कस्तो डोमेन एक्सपर्टिजहरू युज भइरहेको छ SecurityPalमा, कस्तो यु गाइज आर लुकिङ फर मोर हैन, अनि कस्तो अपर्च्युनिटिजहरू छ फर एनीवन हु इज अप्लाइङ.
सो हाम्रो युएसमा चाहिँ नि 25-26 जना छन्. 25-26 people in the US.
Mostly into sales and business side.
No, actually everything. So we mirror the roles. Okay. There's no roles. Every role that exists in the US exists here as well.
Okay.
Like we don't. To us, the way to think about this is मेरो सबभन्दा चाहिँ नि annoying. Like मलाई रिस उठ्ने कुरा चाहिँ नि कहिलेकाहीँ मान्छेहरूले चाहिँ नि हाम्रो कम्पनीको बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि तपाईँले चाहिँ नि आउटसोर्सिङ सप खोल्नु भएको रहेछ काठमाडौँ. मलाई त्यो जस्तो चाहिँ रिस उठ्ने कुरा चाहिँ मलाई कहिले लाग्दैन. There's no outsourcing. किनभने when an American company opens an office in Australia, we don't call that outsourcing, ne? Right? So why is it that when an American company opens an office in Kathmandu, we call that outsourcing? That's bullshit, ne? Pardon my French. So we have knowledge workers here. It's not outsourcing. They're full-time employees. They're colleagues, future founders, by the way. So we have almost every role here. So engineers, we started our engineering team in the US. We recently started hiring engineers here. Why did we start our engineering team in the US? Is that we wanted to have a certain bar. There's incredible talent here, but we wanted to have a certain Silicon Valley foundation and bar that was here. And we wanted to take that bar here and find the people that could meet the bar, that strive for that bar, and want to exceed that bar, right? So that's why we started our engineering team in the US. But now we're building. Now we've created that incredible foundation. In fact, हाम्रो engineering leader, who's based out of Silicon Valley, spent a couple of weeks here. He's flying out tonight. So we have engineers, and we're hiring front-end engineers, back-end engineers. On the front end, हामीले React use गर्छौँ. So React, Java. If you're familiar with JavaScript, React is pretty easy to pick up. Python, Django. So if you know Python, Django, even if you know an adjacent framework like Flask, you'll be fine. We're on GCP. It's a pretty cloud-based service platform product. We're hiring designers, so we can certainly improve the design of our product. So front-end engineers, back-end engineers, designers. We get to work with some of the most incredible logos on the planet. So OpenAI, Snapchat, all these companies, Figma, Airtable. So for anybody that it's really great as an engineer to join SecurityPal right now, because you get to work on challenging problems in a modern stack, and what you build will get shipped and will impact commercial transactions globally, and you'll help move like the world forward. That is like really powerful. Like you'll have that level of impact immediately. So that's on the engineering side. So we have engineers in the US and engineers here. We have our largest population here is security analysts and GRC analysts. So these are really smart, highly trained people that understand nuances of security, privacy, GRC. They understand regulations. They understand data privacy. They understand rules and regulations around the world about how data should be treated. They know exactly how data should be stored, what processes people should follow. These are like truly, truly experts that are helping our customers shepherd through the sort of like this customer assurance journey through the platform. We have HR, we have finance here. We have a marketing and growth team, like an incredible marketing and growth team. One of them's an alum from your school, King's College. And so we've got folks like that are having an impact up and down the stack. They're full-time. And if you have interest in any of these roles, again, like the only thing that you really need to know is like you have to have really great reading and writing English comprehension. Like, we don't even say you need to know how to code because like English is better than any coding language.
Programming language.
Yeah, English is the new programming language, right? And so it's an American company. We conduct in English. If you know other languages, cool. So if you know English plus Korean, English plus Japanese, English plus Spanish, English plus French or German, even better. Like, come join us, right? Because we've got customers all over the world, and so we mirror all those key roles at the business, and it's having like tremendous impact. And everyone is a full-time employee of SecurityPal. Like we're on this journey together, right? And we're really excited about it.
And what kind of culture have you built around inside SecurityPal here in Nepal?
It's a culture that I'm very proud of. It's a culture that I want to continue to hone and perfect. It is probably like the most like non-hierarchical culture you can imagine. You've been to the office?
Yeah, I've been to office.
So like, I don't even have my own office here. People think that's weird, but like I don't have like there's no मेरो private room, मेरो नाम भएको like CEO भनेको चाहिँ नि मलाई कहिले बनाउन मन लाग्छ हैन. Ani त्यो चाहिँ नि like it's a waste of time and energy. Okay, like we're all on this mission together. And त्यो feedback culture चाहिँ नि एकदम छ हाम्रो. So we provide feedback. So I ask anybody to provide me feedback, and you can be as direct with me as there's a difference between being direct and being disrespectful. You should always be respectful of everybody, but you should never be afraid to challenge ideas. Okay, so you should always respect everybody, but challenge ideas. Challenge ideas, not people, right? So like, what is the idea that person has? How do we make it better? And that's the idea that we should really have. It's a challenging place as well. Like we expect a lot out of folks, and part of the reason is I believe I believe people that work at SecurityPal are gonna start the future like unicorns and successful companies. Of not just this region, but the world.
I remember one of the statement you said, I should be one of the first person that signs SEC if they ever want to build something.
Yeah. Like I will be a proud investor in any SecurityPal alum. If they're trying to start a Kirana Pasal, that's something different. Like I don't know if I'm like the best investor for like something like that, which, but yeah, if they're trying to build a company or stuff like that, like I want to be the first check that goes in. And I think that's just true for our leader here, Lakshman Basnet, who like built this incredible facility and office. He's our GM. So I met him like over 2 years ago. Like I want to say this is like March, April of 2021. I met him. So yeah, I guess like right around now, 3 years ago. And it's he's an ex-founding team of Daraj and spent a bunch of time at Cloud Factory. And so really like the culture that I think he's built and established here is, because I'm only here like once a year. We're really lucky to have that. And we, going back to the point, like there are future executives, future business nonprofit leaders, future entrepreneurs. Like I look at them every day and I see them, and I'm really excited to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish. I want them to get rid of their mental ceilings or whatever, right? And replace them with newer goals. And so yeah, in terms of culture, like great culture, but it's not perfect. We gotta continue to improve. But for folks that really want to be in an environment that you walk in and we had Swarnam Wagleji at our office. He's an MP and I love the way he framed it. He's like, you've built a little slice of California, Silicon Valley, in Nepal, and that's really the goal. Like you walk into that building and you should really not be able to tell if you're in Silicon Valley or Kathmandu, and I think it really does feel that way.
Yeah, I've been to office and I can vouch for that. And we'll talk with your teams to make sure we have enough description.
Yeah.
We will links to some landing page, and we'll also link the email address that you told.
Careers careers, so plural, CAREERS at securitypalhq.com. And you can send your resume there. You can include a short blurb, what like main skill sets you have, and our recruiting team will get back to you. Yeah.
Great. While I was listening to your podcast, the other podcast, there's a saying that scratch your own itch, and that's where amazing entrepreneurs build their product. And then you mentioned how in your past company that you co-founded, Teamable,
Yeah.
where you had to fill a lot of forms, and at that point of time you realized, okay, this is quite a pain in the ass, so there should be a business around it. So how do you see entrepreneurship in general? How should somebody, like for example, if somebody is watching this video right now, he or she 16 to 17-year-old wanting to start a business someday, wanting to be an entrepreneur, what their approach should be? Very general question.
I can म आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्सको बारेमा म कुरा गर्न सक्छु है. मलाई चाहिँ नि त्यो ब्रड बेस्ड एडभाइस दिन चाहिँ नि अलिकति ट्रिकी नै लाग्छ, किनभने म इनोर्मस प्रिभिलेज पोजिसनबाट आएको हो क्या. सो म 7 वर्षमा चाहिँ नि अमेरिका गएँ, म त्यहाँ हुर्केँ, म मेरो स्कुलिङ लाइक मैले चाहिँ नि स्ट्यानफोर्डमा जाने lottery ticket नै भनौँ न, like those are sort of lottery ticket schools नै. म जान
You got
पाएँ.
scholarship for
Yeah, I had a full scholarship, so luckily I didn't have to pay. Yeah.
were you a bright kid in terms of grades, in terms of academics?
Yeah, मेरो high school मा चाहिँ नि I was a topper, right? Or yeah, I guess people here say topper. I was really interested in like science and technology from a very early age, and I used to compete in these like Intel like in global like international science competitions and regional competitions. I came in like second place at the 2008 Intel International Science and Engineering Fair. I got money, like I was working at Columbia University as like a high schooler. Okay, I was working at like a biochemistry research laboratory as a high schooler, giving talks to PhDs and as like a 14-year-old, and people were like, so I was definitely like a little bit of maybe had like the prodigy. People would sort of call me that, but yeah, when I won that competition, MIT gave me like a. They named a star after me, not a star, like a minor planet. So it's still like floating around in like some asteroid belt. I think you can buy them now too. So it's like if you want to get one, you can buy it. But I didn't have to buy it. MIT gave it to me. And so I would say like there's things about my life that are so unique to me, and it would be absurd for. It would be like if I was trying to like accomplish what like Zuckerberg is doing and like being upset at myself if I couldn't do that, right? Because or Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates happened to be like in the same school that had like one of a handful of IBM's like computers, and his like family is like super well to do in Seattle or something like that. So there's कुनै चाहिँ नि आफ्नो circumstance नै एकदम भाग्यमानी circumstance लिएर आउँछन् मान्छेहरू. म पनि लकी भएँ. मैले यति मात्र रियलाइज गरेको छु कि द हार्डर आई वर्क द लकियर आई गेट. सो जति हार्ड वर्क गर्यो जति चाहिँ नि मान्छेहरूलाई भेट्यो. I look at myself as like sometimes like a molecule or atom. You just have to bump into a lot of things and see what happens, right? And you're gonna make mistakes probably 9 out of 10 times, but the one time that works, it might have like a power law a return on your career or on your personal life or anything like that. So, with that caveat for entrepreneurs, म के भन्छु भनेपछि if you're interested in entrepreneurship, first figure out what you're going to do if you fail. Because 90% of startups, 95% of startups in Silicon Valley fail, right?
Not everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. So have a plan in case it doesn't go right. There's a lot of people, like, there's some people that just have like crazy amounts of belief in themselves. That's great. I couldn't start a company right out of college. I didn't have the funding. I didn't have much savings. I really like started my entrepreneurial journey. I'm 32 now. I really started like, I was a co-founder of my previous company. So at like 24, म 23-24 वर्ष हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ मैले त्यो सुरु गरेको थिएँ अनि त्यो जोइन गरेको थिएँ एज अ co-founder. अनि यो कम्पनी सुरु गर्दाखेरि लगभग चाहिँ नि त्यही 27-28 वर्ष थिएँ होला. So, but I sort of took care of, I had some savings, I had some skills, मेरो कुनै network थियो, अनि म fail भए पनि त्यो network, savings र relationships हरूले चाहिँ नि त्यो netले मलाई catch गर्थ्यो के. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I think like the better way to do it is build a net for yourself, right? And some people have great nets for themselves. कुनै मान्छेहरू चाहिँ एकदम धनी पोजिसनमा आउँछन्. That's great. कुनै मान्छेहरूको चाहिँ नि एकदमै family नै well to do हुन्छ or केही न केही. That's great. But figure out, build that net for yourself.
That net could be education.
It could be education.
Savings.
It could be savings. It could be spending some time abroad. It could be whatever, right? Invest in that net. Do not just go blindly because you feel inspired one day. That's not how most companies are made. If you're like the next Zuckerberg or like Bill Gates or like Bezos, all the power to you. most people don't even know that Bezos actually worked at like D.E. Shaw, which was like a private equity firm, and he made like millions there. And then he like, took those investments. He had a great network. He went to Princeton, all these things. It's like if you study a lot of these entrepreneurs, like they're smart people. They understand probabilities. Entrepreneurship also, so that that requires a little bit of rational thought. Alikati rationally sochनुपर्छ. And then entrepreneurship is a highly irrational thing. Okay? Like for you to think that you could make something in the world that other people have not thought about or tested or stuff like that, it's kind of like a pretty irrational thing to do if you think about it. I took a crazy risk, né? Like it could have not worked out. I happen to be in the version of the universe where it did work out up to this point, eh? Like that's all I'm gonna say, because who knows what's gonna happen, right? Even me with a nice revenue company, like good financials, good backing and stuff like that, I'm still not sure what might happen a few years from now. But I have an almost irrational belief that this is going to be like $100 billion company. So you sort of have to have that crazy mindset of like this, almost maintaining cognitive dissonance. Okay? You have to believe that like that you have to operate yourself from the mindset of like, okay, this is most likely going to fail, might not work, but also have this irrational belief in yourself that like, oh no, I'm going to find a way to make it succeed. And you're an entrepreneur, so I don't know if you sort of oscillate back and forth, right? Like entrepreneurship is a crazy roller coaster journey. So, and then for me personally, it was a problem that I discovered. मैले चाहिँ नि मेरो previous company मा यो problem discover गरेको थिएँ. अनि मैले research गरेँ, केही solution थिएन. अनि मान्छेहरूलाई सोधेँ, interview गरेँ. मेरो network धेरै handy भयो मलाई. अनि so, and people said, oh yeah, like मैले त्यो problem यसरी solve गरेको चाहिँ नि अरू कसैलाई देखाएको छैन. So तिमीले गर्यो भने चाहिँ नि म किन्न तयार छु. तर त्यतिमा मात्र रोक्नु हुँदैन. लाइक किन्न तयार छु भनेर चाहिँ एउटा कुरा हो, तर किन्ने अर्को कुरा हो नि. पैसा त गोजीबाट निकाल्नु पर्यो नि. so त्यो भ्यालिडेट भयो. मेरो त पहिलो कस्टमरले मलाई मैले कम्पनी इन्कर्पोरेट गर्नुभन्दा पहिले नै मलाई इन्भोइस मागेको थिएँ क्या. सो द्याट्स हाउ आई न्यू कि मेरो चाहिँ नि आइडियाको चाहिँ नि खुट्टा छ भनेर के, लेग्स छ भनेर, एटलिस्ट अलिकति दौडिन सक्छ भनेर चाहिँ यो आइडिया. सो
अनि प्लस तिमीले पहिले एक्जिक्युट गरिसक्यो नि त आफ्नोलाई. सो यु अघि भने जस्तै स्क्रैचहरू हुने तिमीलाई त्यो प्रब्लम फिल भइसकेको थियो नि होइन. अनि त्यो पनि एउटा बवाल भ्यालिडेसन.
एन्टरप्रेन्योरसिप चाहिँ नि इजी छैन. एन्टरप्रेन्योरसिप चाहिँ नि एकदमै सेक्सी बनेको छ अहिले. Everybody wants to call themselves a founder or CEO or whatever. It's become this like almost like a status thing, right? Which in some ways I think is good. We need more entrepreneurship in the world. त्यो राम्रो हो. तर सबै मान्छेहरूले चाहिँ नि गर्न सक्दैनन्. अनि सबै like Satya Nadella हेरौँ न, like Satya Nadella.
Exactly.
He's not an entrepreneur, but he's done really well. He's probably had more impact in the world than 99% of founders, 99.99% of founders, right? So you don't have to be a founder. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to still take advantage, to still sort of scratch that itch, right? You can join a company and build a division. You can join a company and you can go abroad, work and learn, and you can build a nonprofit. You can have impact in so many different ways. And you can build a really happy life, a life full of meaning. And purpose, and give yourself the opportunity that I always like to say is like self-actualize of basic needs take care of basically, right? Like food, shelter, partner, like self-actualize. Okay, त्यसपछि चाहिँ नि के गर्ने, मैले चाहिँ नि आफूलाई चाहिँ नि what do I want to do with my life? So like त्यो take care गर्ने चाहिँ नि त्यो self-actualization. How do you put yourself in a position where you can actually self-actualize? So everybody has their own journey. मेरो journey चाहिँ नि correct होइन. अनि म एउटा मान्छे हो जसले चाहिँ नि एउटा path follow गर्यो. अनि मेरो एकदम privileged र lucky path थियो. म त्यो भन्न तयार छु. Like I have no problem saying that I got lucky, because there's a lot of people that are much smarter than me and much better positioned and stuff like that. So But to be an entrepreneur, like it can't be because you saw somebody else do it, or you want to, it has to come from within. It has to be sort of intrinsic. You have to be willing to go on this journey, and this journey is going to be hard, and it's going to be tough, and you're going to want to quit, and you still will want to push through, and that's how you that's what you in many ways have to be like prepared for, right? Yeah.
हामी अलमोस्ट हाम्रो पडकास्टको एन्डतिर आएको छ होइन वान मोर क्वेसन यही नेरेटिभमा एउटा अर्को क्वेसन चाहिँ मलाई के एड गर्न मन लाग्यो भन्दाखेरि सो वाट वुड यु सजेस्ट पिपल टु बी बिल्डिङ समथिङ लाइक इफ दे स्टार्टिङ टु दे वान बिल्ड समथिङ सो दे बी थिङ्किङ of solving a local problem and then make it regional and then make it global, or the day one they have to think I'm going to build a global product, I'm going to solve a global problem.
यो चाहिँ एकदमै पर्सनल कुरा हो. So I think if you're passionate about a local problem अनि त्यो मार्केट लार्ज इनफ छ अनि आइडिया धान्न सक्छ यताउता भनेपछि अनि गर. लाइक Nepal's a decently sized market, right? 30 million people. Not everybody, it also depends on disposable income per capita and stuff like that. But I think यदि कुनै ठुलो कुरा गर्न चाहिँ मन लाग्छ भने नेपालबाट ग्लोबली नसोचेर त हुँदैन. But luckily नेपालको चाहिँ नि immediate strengthsहरू छ, which is like, Nepal is an ally of all the neighboring states here, right? So natural geopolitical enemies at China. Like everybody loves Nepali people. They work hard. So you can sell in India, you can sell in China, you can sell Asia Pacific buddy. So त्यो कति ठुलो एम्बिसन छ, कति के गर्न मन लाग्छ त्यो हिसाबले हुन्छ अनि आफ्नो पर्सनल जर्नली हुन्छ. मलाई के लाग्छ भनेपछि folks that have a personal problem that they themselves experienced or impacted somebody close to them, those are usually better ideas to go after if there's a large sort of market. But the way you run into those ideas is like, I had to work to run into my idea. मैले त 3 वर्ष काम गरेँ नि, 3-4 वर्ष काम गरेँ नि before I ran into my idea. It's like यो idea त मेरो 20th idea होला. I tried to start a business at Stanford, like the 3 companies, Like in the beginning when I joined, it was like a mini social network. Then I tried to start like a talent matching platform on campus with a friend. We even got picked up by like the publications there at that time. So like, त्यो चाहिँ नि, you have to look at yourself, right? Like it's like, entrepreneurs are people that like sort of like, it's like you're getting like the crap kicked out of you and you'll still get up and try again, okay? Like because you just love doing it so much. And if you don't like that feeling, if you don't like that pain of getting punched in the mouth and pulled in a bunch of different directions and stuff like that, then that should tell something about you, and you should have some level of metacognition and self-awareness to be like, okay, like maybe that's not for me. That's what I have to say about that.
To add into that, to run into a problem, you have to be closer to the periphery of the problem, right? होइन, जस्तो फर इक्जाम्पल कतिपय कम्पनीजहरू जुन खतरा ट्यालेन्ट बेस बनाएर नेपालमा बसिरहेको छन्, जो चाहिँ टिपिकली आउटसोर्सिङ गरेर आएको छन्. आई थिङ्क why have they not been able to build a global product? The technical resources, a team छ, पैसा छ, they are already catering global clients भन्ने कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ त्यो रिसेन्ट एउटा पडकास्ट भएको थियो, मैले रिचन दाई भन्नेलाई बोलाएको थिएँ. हि इज अ प्रेसिडेन्ट अफ NAS IT.
I know Richard, yeah.
And he told me the problem is the know-how. टेक्निकल नो-हाउ चाहिँ छ होइन, किन भन्दा टेक्निकल नो-हाउ त पढेर बुझेर सिक्न सकियो, तर त्यो बिजनेस नो-हाउ गर्नको लागि चाहिँ जबसम्म तिमी त्यो प्रब्लमको पेरिफेरीमा पुग्दैनौ होइन, कसरी थाहा हुने त नि होइन, कसरी त्यो पर्सपेक्टिभमा चाहिँ भनेपछि ग्लोबल प्रोडक्ट नेपालमा बसेर बनाउनु त गाह्रो भने त अनलेस यु हेभ अ पार्टनर आउटसाइड, अनलेस यु हेभ समबडी हु अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड द्याट बिजनेस नो-हाउ एन्ड देन यु क्यान टेक केयर अफ अ टेक्निकल नो-हाउ होइन, अर भाइस वर्सा. त्योमा चाहिँ नेपालमा बसेर ग्लोबल प्रोडक्ट कसरी बनाउने त होइन. अझ तिमी आई थिङ्क यो त B2B स्पेसमा हो होइन, B2B स्पेसमा त बिजनेस त्यो रिलेसनसिपकै कुराहरू आउँछ होला, कतिपय कुराहरू फिजिकली भेट्नुपर्छ होला नि, त्यसलाई चाहिँ कसरी हेर्ने त? Am I making sense?
Yeah, so म एउटा स्टोरी दिन्छु है लाइक एभ्री त्यो सिलिकन भ्यालीमा एटलिस्ट लाइक when Google or all these companies when they were growing they would replace their CFO at a regular basis, okay?
CFO.
Yeah. And you sort of have to replace people at a regular basis. Is like the mindset, especially. I picked CFO because of a very specific example. Once a company gets really large, त्यो यति चाहिँ नि $1 million transaction गर्ने CFO चाहिँ नि बेटा खोज्यो भने अब कम्पनी एकदम ठुलो भयो अरे नि and you're doing transactions in billions. त्यो $1 million मा मात्र ट्रान्ज्याक्सन गर्ने CFO ले $1 billion अङ्कदेखि नै डराउँछ नि. They're afraid to make those investments, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, it's like you have to find people that are unafraid of that context, right? And that's why, like, Google, when they hired a CFO, they go to Wall Street. Why? Because they see trillion dollar figures. So when somebody comes in, like, some CFO is not going to mind, like, allocating $50 billion here or $10 billion there. Whereas someone that maybe wasn't steeped in that would, hesitate a little bit. That's just one example. Mm-hmm. But what that should tell you is, even though the directionally the talent here is great. Experience matters.
Technical talents.
Sure, technical talent. I think I think I've mainly only had exposure to technical talent. It's the talent is great. I would say the slope is great. The slope of their growth, right? If they continue to invest, they get better every quarter. But the challenge is, experience matters. Exposure to large data sets matter, right? If you're only used to data sets in the thousands, and you've never experienced playing with data sets and the millions of data points or billions of data points, it's going to be challenging for you to make decisions. That exposure, like, really matters. And so sometimes I sort of like see Nepal, or at least for folks that are here, in almost like the sort of like Plato's allegory of the cave. So you're like there's cave people, and all they see, they're facing the wall, and there's an opening, and they only see the world from the shadows that are there. Okay, so and so you're extrapolating what the world is like based on this tiny little lens through which you're looking at the world, and the world is much bigger. But this is why I actually encourage people to like leave and come back and like explore all these other opportunities. We're going to invest in that at SecurityPal as well. So that exposure, that experience, like all those things actually deeply matter. You will never know the ways in which you might be wrong. Okay? And you will never know until it's too late that you're headed down a wrong direction. Okay? So I hope I'm making sense.
Yes. Yes. So I think the opportunity that you want to implement on SecurityPal, you're going to fly people back and forth.
Yeah, I want to like create this sort of like company where people can go. My dream is like, a business leader in Kathmandu. There should be like I can almost imagine the commercial, right? Like a young, like smart, a woman leader at the company who like has an apartment in Kathmandu, enjoys her lattes, but then like, has Monday to Thursday business trips to like Singapore. She goes to Tokyo. She goes to like Bangalore, does business deals, comes back, lives her life, right? Like we should create opportunities for that generation of people.
100%. You
know what I'm saying? And like that's really cool. And like everything's like, everything's like within 5 hours, more or less, flight away. And so like you're living here and you're like amongst like your community and where you grew up and all the things that are like important for sort of personal well-being. But I hope to like create opportunities where we can have like incredible like business leaders like her, right? This around our company as well as like around the valley. Like that's like the type of that we should like strive for. And you bring ideas back and forth. Like I think we'll get there.
And nicely put. I think if we are, for anyone listening, thinking of building a local product, travel locally. Regional product, travel regionally. Global product, travel globally. And I think get the know-how. If you don't have know-how, get it.
Get it. Like, don't be afraid.
Or partner with someone who has it.
Partner with someone who has. I mean, it's so one thing that's great about Kathmandu is it gives you a lot of confidence if you're getting started, because you can do something pretty quickly and be like, oh, like मैले त के न के त गरेँ भन्ने हुन्छ नि यहाँ. That confidence is great.
Leverage that confidence.
But now that you've made it to that, and I'm going to use a mountain analogy here, ni, like त्यो चाहिँ नि लुक्ला भयो के. तर यदि चाहिँ नि अरू हिमालहरू क्लाइम्ब गर्न छ भने you have to go back down, and then you have to put now that you have the confidence and it's part of your ego, you have to put it all at risk again to go for something greater. Okay. True. So there's a lot of people here, a lot of entrepreneurs in Kathmandu that have really gotten to like this place, but are they brave enough to risk it all for something greater? And like I think like that is something that I really hope we are. Like I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Amazing. Maza aayo.
Yeah.
So Pukar, you are in LinkedIn. We were talking over LinkedIn a couple of days ago. So for anybody who is listening and watching this, if they want to get connected to you, LinkedIn is the place, right?
Yeah, LinkedIn is the place. So connect with me and send me a note. Like I think I have one of those follow pages now, but like connect with me, send me a note on LinkedIn. The link will be here attached to the show notes. And then if you want to reach out to me, you can, obviously, if you're interested in a career, go reach out at careers@securitypalhq.com. If you want to reach out to me personally, I try to read most emails. I try to make myself available. So just reach out to me, pukar.hamal@securitypalhq.com. And so if you send me that email, like I monitor it about every week, and you can reach out to me that way as well. Yeah.
अनि मेरो पर्सनल एक्सपिरियन्स धेरै नेटवर्कहरू जुन पनि पाएको छु बिल्ड गरेको छु, इट्स सिम्पली बिकज आई रिच आउट होइन. रिच आउट गर्नको लागि चाहिँ लाज मान्नु हुँदैन, अप्ठ्यारो मान्नु हुँदैन होइन. म्याक्सिमम हुने के हो, रेस्पोन्स नहुने, नो आउने त हुँदैन. Then you should be get motivated to reach out to other more people.
This is such a powerful idea what you just said, right? Because the downside to reaching out is like no response. The upside is like a connection that could transform your life.
100%.
Like you should always take a bet where that has a minimal downside and massive upside.
Exactly.
Like take that bet 100 out of 100 times.
Very entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah.
So एउटा राइट अप्रोचले रिच आउट गऱ्यो भने मान्छेले रिप्लाई गर्छ होइन. So you should know that right approach, होइन, learn that right approach. के हो त्यो right approach? So त्यो कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ रिच आउट अनि आई थिङ्क बिल्ड नेटवर्क. अनि त्यसरी नै हो, कोलाबरेटिभ सिनर्जी क्रिएट हुने नै, एनर्जी ठोकेर सिनर्जी क्रिएट हुने त हो नि होइन. अनि आई ह्याड एन अमेजिङ टाइम गेटिङ टु नो यु पुकार. दिस इज आवर थर्ड मिटिङ एन्ड आई थिङ्क आई अलरेडी हेभ टन्स अफ टेक अवेज. अनि भन्छ नि एउटा पोजिटिभ जेलेसी, आइ एम जेलस अफ यु एस्पिरेसन एन्ड I'll make sure that jealousy will only inspire me to be more good and great at what I do. So त्यति भन्दै we'll be back again with another amazing episode. As you can see, podcastमा दुईजना मान्छे बसेर बोल्ने हो, तर there is an amazing team behind the camera, behind computer screen, making sure the episode turns out great. So share this to someone who might actually need it, because one content can change people's life as well. Just content पनि connection no हो होइन.
Absolutely.
यो whole podcast सुन्यो भने I think you'll have a better way to reach out to Pukar.
Yeah, my inspiring leaders that I listen to, I always say like my mentors, your mentors, you don't have to have a relationship with them, right? Because they've said so many things
100%.
on the internet. So I always say my mentors are Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos. I don't have a personal connection with them. It's fine. Or even Charlie Munger, who recently passed away, right? Consider them mentors because I read and consume so much of their stuff. They have so much content online. And that's how you learn. All this information is freely available. It's a click away, right? So I just want to thank you, Anup, for inviting me onto the show. I think it's a great platform to celebrate folks that are actually like getting stuff done and doing and moving the world forward. And I hope, I hope that we've here, even if we inspire one person to do something amazing, I think it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah. 100%. अनि यति भन्दा भन्दै we'd like to thank the production company We Find Us for making this happen. By the way, We Find Us has recently launched podcast as a service. So if you want to do a podcast like this, we have a एउटा स्लोगन छ, यु वक इन विथ द गेस्ट, यु वक आउट विथ द गेस्ट, विल टेक केयर अफ द रेस्ट. सो वी फाइन्ड टेक केयर अफ अलमोस्ट एभ्रिथिङ. स्टार्ट युर ओन पडकास्ट, दिस इज द बेस्ट टाइम in the history of content creation to start a podcast. So, यति भन्दै we'll be back again with another amazing episode, another amazing guest. Till then, you guys take care. Bye bye.